Good morning, happy Friday. How are you this morning? I've got all my friends here, the gang's all here, everyone's here, Energized Collagen, and I've got all my morning routine stuff before I head downstairs to hit Bar Blend. And this morning when I was in the shower, where all good ideas come from, of course, either in the shower or when you're driving, no place where you can write them down. You just have to hope you can remember them, right? I was thinking about this concept of second chances. I really don't know why. Well, yes, I do kind of, but I was thinking about this idea of second chances, and I do know why. Yesterday, someone messaged me. I was talking about Bar Blend, and I was talking about how amazing the program is, and I was talking about how on day 2, because I am such a passionate believer that it's just not fitness, it's life. That everything we do in our workout becomes a catalyst for life, and that doing another squat or another lunge or another push-up in your workout transfers over into what you can do in your life. I believe life change starts with fitness, okay? So on day 2 of Bar Blend, Elise, who is an incredible instructor, whatever she was saying, however she was cueing, whatever she was doing, it's day 2, and I'm almost in tears on day 2. I was talking about it on my Instagram story, you may have seen it. And someone responded to that they had written off Bar Blend. They weren't even going to try it. Like, they hadn't even tried it yet, but they weren't even going to try it. They had written it off. They weren't going to try it. And then, all right, they watched one of my stories or something, and they decided to try it, and they loved it. And my question back to her was, why would we spend, as humans, any energy whatsoever pre-deciding something when we haven't even tried it? And I asked her, well, did you decide you didn't like to drive before you ever drove and then just didn't do it? No, but it's the same concept, right? And also, what's so interesting to me is this Bar Blend sample workout that I think she did was 30 minutes. So it's just 30 minutes of someone's life. And this person had decided that already, before she'd even ever tried it, that she wasn't going to like a bar class and she wasn't going to do it. And then she tried it after watching some of my stories, and she loved it. And so it was a really interesting conversation back and forth. And honest, no judgment on her whatsoever. It was such an interesting learning point for me, and such an interesting reminder that as humans, also today I am merry and bright, such an interesting reminder for me that as humans we so often either judge before we've done something, or we don't give something a second chance. And so I don't know what's happening up there. So I was thinking about that conversation that I had with her, and I think there are a lot of people who maybe are trepidatious of Bar Blend, and they're trying it, they're falling in love with it. But I was also thinking about that in terms of an experience that I personally had recently. So good. And many of you know that if we're friends on here for any length of time, that I am a huge fan of Cycle. Huge fan. It was actually that and Turbo Kick were the first 2 formats I taught. And I've just always really loved being on a bike. And I taught Cycle for a long time, stopped teaching it. I found Soul Cycle, fell in love with so much about Soul Cycle, because for me, it's just who I am. I'm not just about the thing, like the thing, whatever that thing is. It's why I love Disney so much. The thing, whatever that is, needs some story, some context, some culture, some connection, and Soul Cycle has this amazing culture. And I fell in love with Soul Cycle, and do it wherever I can, wherever I am, wherever there is a Soul Cycle. We do not have one in Indianapolis. Please don't get me started on that. But I also love it because it's high intensity, low impact. And I have been a passionate advocate of that for a long time, taking that into overdrive with Sean Week, especially. If you're familiar with the program Sean Week, Sean T did a 7-day program. I was the modifier in that program, and really got to showcase to people that you can be high intensity and yet low impact and still get results. So I'm a real passionate advocate of high intensity, low impact, which that's what Cycle is. So I fell in love with Soul Cycle, And when, after one trip to New York, came back and said, all right, I'm going to try, we have a franchise here in town that I've talked about before. So I went to this franchise here in town, which is not SoulCycle, and had a really heinous experience. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it was just that instructor, because she was like, and especially as an instructor and as a master trainer, but also just as a human being, there's just no point in being rude. And so it was a really heinous experience. And so I thought, all right, let me just give him one more chance. And I went back and it was still a heinous experience. So for probably a year and a half, I did not go back. And I would only cycle when I was in a town that had SoulCycle, Chicago, New York, Miami, or LA, wherever I'd happen to be. I would seek one out because I just love cycle so much, in addition to what I teach and what I do at home. And because I don't like to run anymore, I used to run, I don't like to run anymore. So cycle gives me sort of that runner's high with zero impact. Y'all, high intensity, low impact, it's where it's at, whatever the format, whether it's cycle or bar blend or whatever it might be. I did Sean Week. I do a lot of Insanity Max 30, which I'm gonna talk about that in a minute too. High intensity, low impact. So don't be prejudging that either. So after a year and a half, after this heinous experience, I actually went back to this franchise here in town, and it was great. The instructor was great. It was great. It's not SoulCycle. It's okay. Not everything has to be the same, you know. That's like saying Six Flags isn't Disney. I don't go to Six Flags because it's not Disney, but people do, and it's just different. It doesn't mean it's worse. It's just different. So anyway, I go back. It's great. I've been going back since. I've been going back now for most of the fall, and I'm going this morning, and I enjoy going to take a class here. And I went back because I gave it another chance. I had gone, I'd had a bad experience. I had taken it out of my life. When I went back, it had changed. Management had changed. Their culture had changed a little bit. I had changed. And now it's fine. It's great. I had actually explored the idea of becoming an instructor for that franchise because I love cycle so much, but have decided it's just not really where I am right now in my life. I've got other things I'd rather pursue. But the bottom line is I gave it a second chance and now have been able to add a format and a community and new people in my life, new friends in my life that I value a lot that I would never have had I not given it a second chance. And I was thinking about that in the context of the conversation I was having with this coach who had written off bar blend, didn't even want to try it. And then when she tried it, she's like, this is amazing. And such a waste of energy to write off something before we'd even tried it. In my cycle experience, I had had a bad experience, yes. But then there was a lot of time there that I didn't go back and give it a second chance. And that's on me, you know, that to not give something a second chance, as if we all as humans don't hope and want other people to give us a second chance. Because I'm telling you, as a human, 99% of the time, probably what you are trying to say or the intent that's in your heart doesn't always come out. And we're hoping, we're navigating through this life hoping that the person we're talking to or the person we're interacting with or the relationship that we have or whatever it might be understands what we're trying to say or what we're trying to do, or that maybe our actions aren't matching our intentions, and we're just hoping, well, that's what I meant, and we're so hoping that everyone else gives us grace and gives us another chance. And yet, how many times do we not? I know I'm guilty of it. I was for that year and a half. I didn't go back to that cycle franchise, and shame on me, because that's a year and a half that I could have been adding that format into my life, meeting new people, making new connections, getting even more involved in my community, meeting new friends. Because, I mean, life's just better with more friends, yes? And all of that could have made my life richer and better in that year and a half, and I just wasn't giving it a second chance. Now, when I finally did, it has made my life richer and better, and I have made new friends, and that's awesome, and the universe has timing that we don't know about, and maybe this is when I was supposed to go back to it. Cool. But the point is, if we are not doing something because we're afraid to even try it, or we've heard something about it, or had an experience with something 18 years ago and it wasn't good, and we haven't given it a second chance, that's on us. Because no doubt, guaranteed, 100%, each of us is navigating our life, hoping that people will give us a second chance, hoping that people will extend us grace, hoping that people will give us the benefit of the doubt. And yet, how many times do we not do it to someone else? We're wanting what we're not willing to give sometimes, and then wondering why we don't get it. You can't get what you won't give. So if you're not extending grace and extending the benefit of the doubt and trying and just being an open heart to life, you're not going to get that in return. So I want you to think of that in terms of fitness, because for me, everything comes back to fitness. Has there been a time in your life where you tried an at-home workout and it didn't really work out for you? I think about it even in my own experience, because I would never have thought that I would like an 80-day program that uses loops and slides and time nutrition. And yet I tried it and it was amazing. A little program called 80-Day Obsession. I absolutely did not think I wanted insanity in my life. And yet I did Insanity Max 30 and it changed my life. And what would my life look like now? How would my life be had I said no to some of these opportunities that have come into my life? How many opportunities have come into my life that I've said no to? And my life would be different, better, richer because of them. I think about how different my life would be had I said no to insanity, because that program changed my life. What if Bar Blend is the program that could change your life and you're looking at it like, I just don't know. Can it work? Well, I don't know. Can it? Are you going to do the work? I don't know. Why not try? And maybe you've tried an at-home fitness program before and it didn't feel right for you at the time, and it's been several years since you've tried it. Maybe that program wasn't the soulmate program for you. Maybe it's time to give it a second chance, because maybe the programs now are different. Maybe the platform on which they're delivered are different. Maybe you are different, and maybe it's time to give that a second chance. Maybe someone's talked to you about the coaching opportunity. Goodness knows, my life has completely changed on every single level because of this coaching opportunity that started with fitness, that morphed into this business that has changed our lives. And I know that there are people watching this video who have been approached about being a coach, who've thought about being a coach, who I've invited to be a coach, who are customers using products and programs, who won't take that next step to be a coach because they're afraid of something and they won't give it grace, or they tried it at one time and it didn't work out and they won't give it the benefit of the doubt. And wow, how much better could your life be maybe if you said yes to that? What if you gave that a second chance? What if you did? And it became the thing that changed your life? Or what if you gave it a second chance and it didn't work out for you again? Okay. What if I would have gone back to that cycle class after a year and a half and it still wasn't very good for me? Okay. Is my life over? No. I have new information. Cool. Okay. And that's what life really is. It is a constant gathering of new information and making decisions from new information, not making decisions from information that is years ago. I was doing that with that cycle class. I was making a decision that was a year and a half plus old instead of giving it another chance, instead of extending grace and giving it the benefit of the doubt like I would want someone to give to me. I was already prejudging insanity and not even giving it a chance until I tried it. And all of a sudden, here's Insanity Max 30, changing my life. Here's a conversation with a coach who had prejudged Bar Blend. Could have been from an experience she had previous. Maybe she took a class, she didn't love it, whatever it might have been, and then did the class at home and loved it. When you keep digging into those kinds of events and experiences in your life, you're going to find a lot of them. Times where you've wasted time, where you haven't given someone the benefit of the doubt, where you haven't extended grace, where just say yes and see what happens. So today, my friends, on this Friday in December, I encourage you, give something a second chance, give something the benefit of the doubt, say yes to something today, because that yes, that second chance, it just might be the thing that changes the rest of your life. Have an amazing Friday.